I pitched this idea to my manager because I realized at some point that as a female of the species, I'm always apologizing for being too big or too small or too much or too little or too sensitive or, whatever, too intense, too mundane. And I was making a conscious effort to not do that as much. I kind of want to tell you a little story about, it's been a good 20 years now ago, my mother was dying of cancer. And it was really hot in Tulsa. I couldn't go running outside, so I went to a local mall and just was like power walking through the mall. And this man actually walked up to me and said, "Smile. There's nothing that bad. What's wrong with you? Why don't you smile?" And it made me feel so accosted. Like, why was he telling me to smile? Because things really were that bad. And I'm just aware as a woman how many times we try to shift ourselves, or we're told we're supposed to shift ourselves to make people more comfortable around us. So I wanted to write this piece sort of as notice that at this point in my life, I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm not as attractive by men's standards as I used to be, but I'm wiser and have more experience. And I think I have more to bring at this point. So I'm just kind of wondering what would happen if all of us just threw away the idea of trying to shift who we are and went into the world without apology. And that's what I wanted to write about. My process was in thinking back. It was a difficult piece for me to write because traditional forms did not fit. And I found a place, I think when we're very young as babies, we know we belong. And I can't even remember where this came from, but my whole life I've had a little song I sing to myself when I'm feeling insecure. And it's just, the lyrics are just, I have a right to be here. And it's just, the right to be. It's just a very simple tune. I decided to use that tune in this piece as sort of where we leave from as entities, as babies. We come into the world expecting a welcome, and then we venture out in life and sometimes find we're not so welcome, but we always come back to that. I still work in the studios of Nashville as a violinist, and we were doing a piece that demanded a lot of pizzicato, real strong, loud pizzicato. I have my violin here. And what we were hearing was, like, if we did this or this, you hear a lot of echo overring that the mics were picking up. So the engineers had this brilliant idea of taking a little piece of foam and putting it under whatever strings we didn't want to ring. And in the process of doing that, I'm taking my bow and rolling it over it, and it gets all these cool overtones. And I was already working on this piece, and I thought, what a great way to symbolize being oppressed or not having your voice heard. So I actually use that in this piece. You'll hear it. And consequently, because of the way that the strings are set up, the cello, that's the whole harmonic basis of the piece, is those stacks of fifths. You'll hear a lot of that, very open, and to me, very warm and inviting, like there's room for every shape of person, every color of person, every sex of person. There's room for divisiveness. There's all room for that in our world. So I want to thank ROCO for agreeing to premiere my piece. I'm incredibly excited, and this will be the first performance ever, and really the first time I've heard a woman without apology.